Welcome back to Cadwell Park. It's round 4 of the Thundersport GB Championships, and now it's time for the Nationwide Traffic Solutions Thundersport 500s, including the Senior Cup. Joe Barton, championship leader, is lining up down on the grid. Jack Tynan, what a season he is having, number 96 on the sky blue Honda. Bardell, he should feature. Richard Blunt, another one to look out for, number 13. And we just saw him a minute ago in Golden Era Superbikes. Away we go then from the lines. I took a trophy sweep before the start of this race, so that my voice will last the entire distance, because we have had some epic battles going on in this championship so far in 2015. Around the first few turns we go then for the Thundersport 500s. Who will lead? Here we see Jack Tynan on the park straight, and he was leading. He's not anymore. There is Joe Barton just pulling up alongside him, and Barton, the series leader, should lead in theory going into Park Corner. There is Jack Tynan in second. In third looked like Richard Blunt. This is now Richard Blunt. We've got a bit of a trick camera angle going on for you here, and he's trying to go around the outside. We're just on board with Richard there, through the gooseneck. Lovely stuff for Richard Blunt, who moves into second place. And now they're all chasing down Joe Barton. They're tripping each other up though. Through Mansfield Corner we go. Joe, don't look behind you. You've got a train, as per usual, through the new chicane here at Cadwell Park. Right, then left. Then a short stretch down to the bottom of the mountain, which is slightly uphill on approach. So here come the leaders through Hall Bend. Joe Barton, Jack Tynan, Richard Blunt, and then Smith. Then it was one of the leaning brothers. See Rob Morby there in around about 7th or 8th place. He leads the Senior Cups as they go through. Then saw him out in the Golden Era Super Sports earlier on. Across the line we go. There's 1-2-1, and for 32 the leaning brothers trying to bully Pete Bardell into Coppice Corner. Bardell found himself in a leaning sandwich there. Jack Tynan we're on board with, pulls out of the slipstream now of Joe Barton down the park straight, and Richard Blunt gets the double slipstream. He goes past Joe Barton as well, and now looks to do 2 in 1. It's a buy one, get one free. No, not quite paying off this time. Into Park Corner 14, and it looks like he might have got things back together again. On board now with a Portico Sport Honda Rob, Richard Blunt. I like this camera angle a lot as they come around the gooseneck and head down towards Mansfield. There's another change there for position in third, I think. Yes, Joe Barton's now dropped back to 4th place as the leaders fly through the new chicane. Jack Tynan leads now, number 96, from Richard Blunt, then Sam Smith, then Joe Barton alongside Jonathan Perry. Tynan leads through Hall Bend. Richard Blunt following his every single move as they head into that hairpin there, which is a pretty horrible corner, I have to say, but we have seen some last-ditch overtaking manoeuvres before. Still a few damp patches here on circuit, but for the most part dry. They'll have all gone for the same tyres. They're road-going Bridgestone tyres. Lee and Clive Mindham. Jack Tynan leads from Richard Blunt, Sam Smith and 106 Joe Barton as they exit Park Corner and come around Chris Curve. And there's a bit of a gap now forming back to Jonathan Perry. On board again with Richard Blunt in second. This just shows you how good the gooseneck is. You on your knee on the right, and then it just dips downhill into the left. A fantastic corner, and then leads you down into Mansfield. Excellent overtaking opportunity, and he left the door open there. Did Richard Blunt, and Sam Smith has taken it. But as he lost the momentum, Richard Blunt's going to try and take it back now. Around the outside into the chicane, doesn't work. He stays in third. That's Sam Smith, who's just lost a bit of ground there on the exit. Wasn't quite perfect through there, but he does stay in second place. Place onwards, including Rob Morby, who leads the Senior Cup, and now there's a change for the lead overall. Sam Smith, for the first time this season, leads the Thundersport 500 pack around Chris Curve, and here all the way through the field. Even the guys battling for 28th down to 32nd are elbows to elbow at the moment. Through the new chicane we go. Sam Smith leads, and then it's Jack Tynan. Joe Barton, the championship leaders, in third, number 106, red light. 32 is Will leading. Got the advantage of his brother Josh for this weekend so far. Then in 5th place is Richard Blunt. Pete Bardell, number 92, Rusty there in 5th place. He's doing everything to try and keep up with this group and potentially get himself in with a chance of getting a podium, but at the moment he's not close enough. Smith leads from Tynan as they exit the hairpin and into Barn Corner. Have to be careful through Barn Corner at the moment. It is very much one line because you go slightly offline. It's very damp and a bit slippery. Across the line we go, and that's the biggest lead that we've seen for anyone so far today, ahead of Jack Tynan, but it won't be for long. Joe Barton third, Will leading 4th, then a bit of a gap back to Richard Blunt, who made a mistake a moment ago and has allowed Pete Bardell into him. Here we are in second place and on board with Jack Tynan, number 96 out there from Reading, and he loses that. He loses second place, he loses third place as Joe Barton and Will Leaning come through, and Joe's now closing up on Sam Smith as well. It just shows you what a bit of slipstream can do in this class, especially if you can get double slipstream, and Sam Smith has made a massive mistake there and has gone wide. I wonder if he'd gone into the damp stuff, but he's gone from first down to third and has allowed Joe Barton through. In fact, Joe's now second place. There's another change. Sam Smith is flying down into Mansfield corner there. Surely he'll run out of... Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Sam Smith, what are you doing there? And he nudges the two wide and they go straight on. Sam Smith is going motocrossing here and he's having the right scuffle with Joe Barton. And this has allowed Pete Bardell and Richard Blunt back into the picture again. As it stands then, that must surely leave Will Leaning with a bit of an advantage out front after what's just happened there. Through Hall Bends we go on board now with Jack Tynan. That's Sam Smith and Joe Barton up ahead of him, who just went straight on at the new chicane. So it is 106 there in second place. Joe Barton ahead of Smith, ahead of Tynan, then Blunt, then Bardell. This is your race leader then. Number 32, Will Leaning. Across the line, he's got a good 7-8 tenths of a second there over Joe Barton. Jack Tynan now moves into third place. He's got past Sam Smith. Pete Bardell has got that flag is out. Just behind that group, by the way, we've not mentioned them yet. James Butcher, Lewis Osler and Dave Grace. Riders who on their day can fight for race wins and at the moment are fighting for the remaining points here in the Thundersport 500 Championship. We're now on board again with Jack Tynan, number 96, and up alongside him comes Rusty Bardell, number 92, into Park Corner, down into Mansfield we go. Will Leaning still leading from Joe Barton. That's Bardell running a bit wide though. Here we're on board with Jack Tynan in fourth, and now into the chicane. Here we go, out of the chicane and into the bottom of the mountain. This is the battle for third place. In the background there is Richard Blunt. I say in the background, he's right on top of him. In the background is Sam Smith. Then on the exit of the mountain and up over the top of the hill, Jack Tynan now trying to get a bit closer. And is he going to have enough room to go up the inside into Hall Bends? No, not quite. They then tip right, then left into Hall Bends, then uphill and downhill, right, then left again and into the hairpin here. Oh, that's a nasty one. And that's Pete Bardell has gone down. He's lost the front end, and that's on the change of direction, still on the brakes, going into the hairpin. I just wonder if he'd hit a damp patch or something. But the last lap is gone. Top three then, Will Leaning, Joe Barton and Jack Tynan. Welcome back to the final part of Thundersport Plus, Nationwide Traffic Solutions, Thundersport 500, Race 2. Can't wait for this one. I've taken a deep breath. There's Jack Tynan, we'll have the camera on him. Will be victorious in Race 2? Well, you're about to find out here at Cadwell Park. The sun is shining and we're ready to go racing here at Cadwell Park as the Thundersport 500 packed grid heads uphill towards Coppice Corner. Jack Tynan, it looks like, will get the whole shot here into turn one. He does, just ahead of Joe Barton. And Charlie's out here. We're on board with Richard Blunt, who's actually in second place. He's not for long. And he's in fact now down to fourth. Joe Barton has gone past him on the right. Pete Bardell on the left. Leading the race is still Jack Tynan as they go through Park Corner. That nearly was carnage into the chicane. Jack Tynan having a major wobble, then sitting it right in front of Joe Barton. There's 5, and then 62, Daniel Otter. They fly through Hall Bends. These guys all in the points just about. There's Lewis Osler as well, up ahead of John O'Toole. Dave Grace, number 7 as well. And around the final corner, they hit, well, they're about to hit into the final corner. That's still on, and I'm sure he'll be looking forward to getting himself back up the sharp end as well. It's coming, don't worry about that, Lewis. Into turn 1 we go. Joe Barton now leads. On board with Tynan, flying through Charlie's exit there. And here we see, look at that momentum he's going to carry. He pulls out of the slipstream and goes up alongside Joe Barton. This just gives you an exact example as to what the Park Straight looks like. It's not a straight at all. They're 3 abreast, heading down into Park Corner. And here comes Pete Bardell to lead. And Jack Tynan goes from first to third. Richard Blunt here is there. Oh, elbows there from Will Leaning and Jack Tynan. And Jack Tynan gets pushed well out of the frame. And now he's looking up at Joe Barton. Brilliant stuff there. They're practically pushing each other off the circuit. Will Leaning has decided that he'd like to win another race. Oh, and Jack Tynan Oh, he's pushing his luck on this race. Earlier on wasn't his fault. He pretty much got pushed out of the way by Will, but that there could have been curtains for him in this race. Well, look at them bunched up. It's Bardell now that leads, Will Leaning, Richard Blunt, Joe Button, Jack Tynan, Josh Leaning, and then number 42, Jonathan Perry. Forward now with Richard Blunt though. Looked like he might go up into the lead and has to settle for fourth as they go into Park Corner. Barton it is then that leads, the championship leader, who despite the scrapes and the elbows always manages to get his nose up in that top three, and that's why his lead is as it is in the championship. Pete Bardell leads it though from Barton, then Will Leaning. On board with Jack Tynan though, who's gone from 5th up to 4th. You're now chasing down Will Leaning. Will he try and get his own back from what happened a moment ago? Into the chicane, not quite this time. Single file for the time being. Then into the bottom of the mountain. Pete Bardell leads it. There's Richard Blunt, just up behind Jack Tynan. Then it's Josh Leaning as well. We're on board now with Blunt, who gets a lot of air over the top of the mountain, then through Hall Bends. This gives you a good example as to how quick they actually go through Hall Bends. Downhill a bit here, slightly off camber. This is where Bardell went down. Off camber again into the hairpin before going into the slippery barn corner. Single file once more, and then try and get into the slipstream on the start-finish straight. Bardell lead from Joe Barton, the series leader. Then it's Will Leaning who's trying to get slipstream and move into first overall. Bardell was first, but not for long. Barton now leads. Will Leaning is trying to get up there, and here's Jack Tynan going around the outside of Will Leaning. He'll have the inside line then for Charlie's, and he moves up into 3rd place. Good move there from Jack Tynan, number 96, and he's finally looking at another podium place again, having been practically barged off circuit over at Chris Curve, and now he's going to move up into 2nd place. He's got double slipstream there because Pete Bardell was in the slipstream of Joe Barton, and so he's going to have to watch himself on the brakes now into Park Corner, because when that happens it's easy to outbrake yourself, but Bardell says no you don't, I want that back again. Pete Bardell leads once more ahead of Jack Tynan, Joe Barton, then it's Richard Blunt, the championship of the very first year Thundersport GB ran it. Good old John Butcher, that was in 2009. Jonathan Harrison won it that year, brother of Richie Harrison, who you just saw out in the Golden Era Superbike class. Here we go then, it is Pete Bardell that leads, number 92, from 96 Jack Tynan, 106 Joe Barton, 13 is Blunt, and then the two brothers. Will Leaning leads Josh Leaning, 32 over 121. Then it's 42 Jonathan Perry. Sam Smith not quite able to keep with the group on this occasion, so he's out of the equation. 5 for the win. And look at them all, they're so close. Across the line we go again. Pete Bardell so far with the advantage ahead of Joe Barton, is it? Yes, just in 2nd place, but Jack Tynan is there trying to hang it round the outside and closes the door on the front end of Joe Barton there as well. But now back to the front. Bardell was leading, not for much longer. See you later, says Jack Tynan as he pulls out of the slipstream, but someone's slipstreaming him as well. This is the great thing about this championship. Joe Barton, just as you think you've got to the corner in front, someone pops their nose right underneath you, and it's to be there as well. 8th, 9th and 10th. Jack Tynan then we're on board with. Look at the difference of it, a slipstream, mate. Unbelievable stuff there from Jack Tynan, who really is able to get out after that. All comes from Charlie's. He's carrying so much speed into Charlie's out, which is turn 3 here at Cadwell Park, that in turn is giving him so much speed on the back straight. Add to that a bit of slipstream, and hey presto. Tynan though, that leads for now here in the Thundersport 500 race ahead of Joe Barton, who just pulls the tear-off strip off his helmet. There's Will Leaning and Josh Leaning, 32 and 121. Josh so far not showing his cards just yet. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to, because 5/10 down is a lifetime in this class. Jack Tynan leads through the Hall Bends and into the hairpin. Watch this as they come out of the final corner. They'll all be in tow, the train, trying to get slipstream from each other. The last lap flag is being prepared then. Here we go. Who's your money on? Jack Tynan leads across the line ahead of Joe Barton, and Richard Blunt looked in a good place there in 3rd overall. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Pete Bardell and Will Leaning. At the moment, we're on board with Richard Blunt, who's gone slightly wide there, but carrying brilliant corner speed, trying to get himself some slipstream. He might even get a bit of double slipstream here. He's got to now place himself behind Joe Barton, and he does. Now he gets in the slipstream of Jack Tynan as well. He's going to go the long way round here And let's see if it works. Richard Blunt, number 13, and Joe Barton's there. And Pete Bardell out of nowhere comes from 4th into 2nd place, and we've brought Will Leading along with him as well. I thought that was going to be so good for Richard Blunt. As it turns out, he's down in 4th place. This is Jack Tynan in 3rd, sorry, and now he's down to 4th because Richard Blunt does it again. He goes up the inside into the gooseneck, and Tynan now getting them back. Oh, look at them all crossing over each other. They're allowing Joe Barton a bit too much room out front, I fear, into the chicane. They're all so desperate to have a nibble at him out front that they've forgotten about him. And look at that, that might just be it. That could be curtains for the rest of the field in trying to catch that up in the closing stages. Now they're just going for podium places. Up alongside him there as they wheelie over the mountain, Richard Blunt trying to find a way past Pete Bardell, number 92, who's desperate to be on the podium, having fallen earlier on. But Joe Barton, the series leader, time and time again he does this. It's magical from the man on the HB Motorcycles, number 106. They exit Barn Corner, and another brilliant race ends here. Joe Barton wins, and it's Pete Bardell that will take 2nd place ahead of Richard Blunt. And Pete Bardell, well, it's going absolutely